This is Katrin with Disability Rights New York. Welcome to our podcast, Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned. We are here to bring you information on the most relevant topics regarding disability rights and advocacy. Today we have joey.buizon, Employee Services Supervisor at Massachusetts Commission for the Blind, here to discuss the MCB's Internship Program. Hi, Joe. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Catherine. Thanks for asking, and good afternoon.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Joe, can you tell us a little bit about the mission of the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind Internship Program?
Of course. So the mission of the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind is really to improve the quality of life and quality of living for citizens of the Commonwealth. From birth to eventual passing, we serve the whole spectrum of young individuals in high school, elementary school, as well as college and post-secondary, all the way up to the mature and geriatric population, whether it be social workers or vocational rehab counselors, helping individuals get employment or being independent in their homes, assisted livings, or nursing homes.
That's a really wide array of services that you're providing for a large group. Can you tell us a little bit about why this internship program was started and talk to us about the steps that you took to create it?
The internship program is first and foremost really near and dear to my heart, as I'm a proud past recipient of vocational rehab services and specifically this internship program. As I had opened up, we serve the whole population, and vocational rehab is one of the disciplines under our umbrella. And the agency really thought, as we're the oldest commission for the blind with the richest history across the Commonwealth, really proud to say that as well, is what can we do to push the staggering unemployment rate for people with disabilities, specifically blindness? And they said internship. Nothing really new. It has been done and will continue to be done. And about 16 years ago, they started the program, the infant stages of the process here at MCB with 3 individuals, a pilot program that had individuals who were currently in college to get them up every day, hit their alarm. Back then there wasn't iPhones, but to get up, take a shower, take the MBTA, paratransit, or get a ride to their place of internship, their place of employment. Get the task that was asked of them done. I'll allow them to kind of resume build, references, network, hone on their interpersonal skills, and the list kind of just goes on. We were able to provide a stipend base for items like Dress for Success. And honestly, from there, it just grew in leaps and bounds in terms of our counselors referring individuals to my unit, as well as the other spectrum, the other side of the fence, employers hosting interns, providing this rich experience as it's a reciprocal relationship, having interns get the real world of work and employers getting tasks done that they need to do on a daily basis for these companies.
That's a really great experience for them to have firsthand. Can you tell me, do you have the percentages of how many jobs have transitioned from the internship to actual employment, or do you have those numbers?
Yeah, we did. That's an excellent inquiry because this is also a model program used, I believe, by 11 other states across the country, if not more. And we did an in-house kind of statistic deep dive in terms of kind of successes. And we know that roughly 70% of individuals who are visually impaired are unemployed. And if individuals end up participating in this internship program, that statistic is flipped on its head. And individuals are now on track to get gainful employment.
That's a really incredible number to think about the statistics of the turnover. Talk to us a little bit about the pre-employment transitional services and how this relates to the MCB's internship program.
Of course. So MCB, I've been here for about a dozen years, and we're always have been ahead of the curve in the sense with the new legislation of WIOA, the Work Innovation Opportunity Act, with the PREETs, and working with this certain population of 16 to 22, we've been able to have a certain amount of money allocated for these budding professionals. But then our internship that we're talking about goes hand in hand regarding working with about 100 plus youth that usually get referred to us. We're in the heart of our internship program now, working with students and having them get early work experience. As we know that the earlier the better, the earlier leads to full-time success and kind of being able to compete with their sighted peers.
Now, who is eligible for MCB's internship programs? And can you talk to us about how someone would apply if they're interested?
So for individuals, we're always looking for that pipeline, additional referrals, or for those that want to make an informed decision and participate in this robust program is they would just have to be an active case at the Mass Commission for the Blind. And then they would work with their VR counselor to talk about their goals, their initiatives, and then if all parties agree that they are appropriate, then they would get referred to myself in the Employment Services Unit. And then me and the VR counselor, as well, of course, the consumer, would work hand in hand with the nonprofit, for-profit, or state government collaboration to establish a relationship with the current organization to provide this rich experience.
So can we talk a little bit about the other end of that? We're talking about the individuals and how they apply. How do businesses or organizations get involved in this? And if they were interested in having interns through the MCB Internship Program, how would organizations contact you, and how does that happen?
That is a fabulous question because I get that quite frequently, right? We work with consumers. We don't really have business liaisons, if you will, but I myself now, with all of the new regulations and the kind of thinking forward, we have our own business engagement group. And a lot of it is kind of the peer-to-peer that I referenced earlier, but business to business. Individuals knowing that we pre-screened individuals before they come to their email and their inbox, if you will. And it's a competitive process. So we may present 2 students, 3, and then they're able to hire all 3, 2, 1, or none. And they give us some constructive feedback. So how employers would hear about this is from one another or when we do our outreach, whether that be cold calls that sometimes aren't as effective, but it is a strategy, or we do kind of this warm handoff, someone that knows someone that introduced me. And I'll give you an example of State Street. Really good friends of ours here in Massachusetts, Richard Curtis. He is the kind of vice president of global acquisition, and he kind of would connect us to Rockland Trust or John Hancock or other local organizations in his field. And there's that warm handoff. So employers really get a hold of us from different ways in terms of reaching out to us, or we're politely persistent on our end, trying to foster and steward relationships in the community for the people we work with.
So people in our audience right now, if they're listening and want to connect with you, we can add your information at the end of the podcast. And are you the best person for them to reach out to?
Thank you. First and foremost, thank you. Yes, and I look forward to it and I welcome it. It would be myself, Joe.buizon, and you have my telephone number and email as well.
Great. Can you tell us what projects you're currently working on at MCB?
So different projects that we're kind of in the heart of it is, of course, the internship program, but other activities, and we're putting all of our efforts in our job fairs that we are currently working with, our annual one that we work with our nonprofit organizations from Perkins School for the Blind, the Carroll Center for the Blind, and MCB, this vision consortium that we call ourselves. We have a job fair that we partner currently with Harvard University. We have about maybe 80 job seekers that come there. We have about 30 employers that provide on-site interviews. We kind of have something called a hiring event on top of the job fair. We're in a kind of a gymnasium, if you can visualize that. In addition to the internship, as well as the job fair, we are always working with our other state organizations. There's a cross-collaboration between other state agencies, kind of going back to the job fair. And we just recently had one last week where we opened it up to all types of individuals with various disabilities, whether it be veterans, individuals with mental health or substance abuse, individuals that have physical disabilities, from people that utilize a wheelchair or are hearing impaired and deaf. We had about 300 individuals that came to that job fair. One thing I did not mention, it was all state employers looking for talent. So that's another project in addition to our internship, our cross-collaboration with our nonprofits. And then we're also doing mentoring. It goes hand in hand with internship. What we're doing here is we are matching individuals who are in school of the age of 16 to 22, matching them with current individuals who are visually impaired and currently employed. And they meet each other, whether it be quarterly, they communicate on social media or via phone, and they develop such a strong rapport that they end up becoming friends and a lot of indirect networking. So when they do graduate, they can hit the ground running, or when they're at school, perhaps they're already working. Like myself, I went to Bridgewater State University and I was a tour guide and worked at the gym, so I already had all that experience under my belt. So those are just to name a few of projects that we're currently engaged in, and we're always looking for other innovating opportunities to look into and see if they would be beneficial for the consumers that we serve.
Wonderful. So I'm going to go back to the WIOA. We talked a little bit about that a minute ago. I just want to have you expand on that. Can you talk to us about how the new mandate has affected the pre-employment transition services on MCB's internship program? Have any changes been made?
So with WIOA, in many ways, we haven't really got impacted as much specifically with the internship program, other than different funding sources. We're able to utilize that specific funding through WIOA that's mandated for that age bracket that we talked about, 16 to 22. And then we would have additional funding in our VR services, your typical VR, if you will, to use that for other clients and consumers that we serve. And that's because we have established this 16 years ago, even before the mandate came out, that we need to put an emphasis on that specific group of individuals. So that's why we are kind of in good footing, even before WIOA was released.
Okay, so I know we talked about your contact information before. Let's give that contact information one more time, along with your address and hours of operation, if someone wants to connect with you.
Yes, so the name again is Joe Buizon. My direct telephone number is 617-626-7607, and my email address is joey.buizon@state.ma.us. Our hours of operation is Monday through Friday from 8:45 a.m. to 5 p.m. And lastly, our address is 600 Washington Street, Boston, Massachusetts.
Joe, thanks so much for that information. Is there anything else you'd like to let us know about the internship program or any events you have coming up soon?
I think I'd like to really state my appreciation to you, to the organization you work for just giving me the opportunity to continue to expose programs like the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind Internship Program, which is one of our premier programs. And then also let people know that we have the opening ceremony coming up. It's June 11th. It's at the State House for our opening ceremony. We have a closing ceremony in the program. And just to list a few other expectations of the program is it's 120 hours. There's seamless paperwork from an agreement, a timesheet and evaluation. A resume is needed. And last but not least, because we listen and hear our employers that work with us, and they said we need to have a soft skills training, kind of that interpersonal skill, that emotional intelligence. We're going to be having a few sessions here in May for the 100 interns that are referred to us to go through that process, and hopefully they can learn from that and then share their stories during the summer with all the individuals that they meet appropriately. So thanks so much.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to speaking to you and hearing some updates on your programs. Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned has been brought to you by Disability Rights New York, your source for disability rights and advocacy. If you enjoyed our program, and we hope you did, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this post. If there is a subject you would like us to discuss, please email podcast@drny.org or comment below. Tune in next time, where we'll bring you more information on disability rights in the state of New York. The closed captioned version of this podcast is available on our YouTube channel. Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned is also available on iTunes and Spotify.